Hi, this is Marnie Pearson and Sue Painter back with the online business reality show, our Marnie and Sue's Peep Show, where we pull back the curtains on our lives and businesses and share what's working and what's not. And I think I used my wrong last name, didn't I?
You did.
Marcus, Marnie Marcus. Okay.
Marnie Marcus sounds like a movie star to me.
It's got really good numerology to it, too. I looked that up today. So
That's cool.
Anyway.
Cool. How are you doing, Marnie?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about meeting strangers, making videos, and when to move on. So what did you want to talk about on meeting strangers there, Sue?
I had a client talk to me about, well, would you ever approve a stranger to be your friend on Facebook? And I started thinking, I actually put something on my Facebook page, on my Confident Marketer Facebook page today about this. And I thought, you know, if I use Facebook in order to talk to people I know and also to meet new people who might become clients or who might become friends. So of course I'm going to meet a stranger on Facebook. I think there is this thing. I think there are people who are of two different minds when it comes to social media, not just Facebook, but Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest or really any of them. You either trust that you're going to be okay in life, or you trust or you fear that something horrible is going to happen to you all the time. So you either live an open life or you live a closed, inhibited life. You either live a life based in openness and love, or you live a life based in fear. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. If you have to think of social media just the same as you would the neighborhood you live in, or the city you live in, or the country you live in. There are some great people. There are some not so great people. There are some really crappy people. There are some people you really want to meet, and there are some people you don't really care if you meet. Social media is the same way. It's just like a virtual city. It's a virtual community, just like your community is real that you live in. And so if you're the kind of folks who stays in the house and doesn't go out because you're so afraid something bad might happen to you out on the sidewalk, then don't get on social media, because you're going to do the same thing on social media, and you're going to be not very successful with it and miserable and scared all the time. I personally absolutely refuse to live my life in fear. I will not do that. And I know how to handle people who come at me with not great intentions. And what I like about social media is you can block people so that they can never contact you or see any of your stuff again. In your neighborhood, you can't, but you can on social media. So the answer to the question is, well, of course I would meet a stranger on social media. What else is social media for? I just think that it is a mindset that is a fear-based mindset or an open mindset, and we all fall into one of those two categories. And I'm not trying to change you if you've got the fear-based mindset. I'm just saying, if I felt that way, if I was fearful, I wouldn't be on social media, and I'd be the kind of person who keeps my door locked at home all the time. And if that's who you are, then don't bother, because that's not what virtual communities are about. So that's my thing about that. And I don't know, Marnie, whether you agree or disagree, but you know, that's how I know thousands of people on social media, because I've met strangers.
Yeah. Well, I had three things I kind of jotted down. The first thing is, you know, do I agree or not? You're talking the girl who flew to San Antonio, Texas and Salt Lake City and dated men she met online. So yeah, I'm open to meeting people that I don't know and friending strangers. There's a big difference between friending somebody on Facebook and actually dating them or flying out to meet them. I think a lot of it comes down to discernment.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've learned to be more discerning and to look for the red flags. And, you know, I'm happy to say that every man that I went out with that was from somewhere, they were good men. They weren't bad men. You know, I mean, they might not have been perfect for me, but they were not you know, they weren't going to hurt me or do anything. But I really say if you want to learn discernment, do online dating because it's an exercise in discernment to kind of read people and yeah, and with Facebook, there are some clues that you can look forward to determine whether somebody's legitimate or not. For example, I always look at their page. Okay, if they're a man in another country, not going to friend them. I'm sorry, they may be okay, but maybe if they're in the same line of work as me and they've got lots of connections with the same people, I might do it. But for the most part, I don't trust that. Most of the time, I approve, and even women, I look at them, and if they've only got a few pictures visible, and it's a new account, I don't friend those. They're usually some kind of scam thing or something. Also, you want to be careful if somebody has the same name as a friend of yours that you know you've already friended.
Yeah,
it's probably some kind of spammy scam thing. That, I mean, not necessarily that their account's been hacked, but somebody's trying to assume their identity and do something. So, I mean, you just kind of look, you got to be smart, you know, and kind of go with your gut on it, I think. And over the years, if you've had a lot of bad experiences with people, it can taint your perspective of people. And rather than let it make you where you just don't want to have anything to do with anybody anymore, just look for the patterns in the people that turned out to be problematic and the way they made you feel. And when you run up with somebody new that has that same kind of red flag bad feelings, just back off and don't go into a relationship with them, you know. It frustrates me when I hear people that are so jaded by people, because I love people. I have met so many wonderful people, and had I closed myself off, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you said about trusting your gut, I have a couple things to say about that. It's the same, you know, if you go up to New York City and you're walking the streets of New York City, you can have an attitude of making eye contact with people and being aware of your surroundings and not, you know, acting like you belong there, and you'll be left alone. If you shuffle around with your head down and act like you're fearful every time you walk down the street, there or anywhere else for that matter, then probably you're going to bring a problem on yourself. And I agree with Marnie about trusting your gut, except if you are jaded, you don't have a gut. Your gut has gotten out of control and everything seems like a threat.
That's true.
And that's not a true gut. That you're not being that's actually not your gut. That's your brain. That's fear-based brain. That's reptilian brain. So you have to be willing to work yourself out of that. And I think some people will be willing to work themselves out of that. And I think other people are just going to be fear-based all their life. And I mean, we have that in this neighborhood. We live in a gated community, and you know, there are some people in this community who think that the fence around the property isn't high enough and would like to make it, you know, a 50-foot fence with barbed wire at the top. And I'm like, well, hell, you know, I don't want to live in a prison. I want to live in a beautiful neighborhood. So if you're that fear-based, go live in prison where you're imprisoning yourself. I don't like that. So it's just a matter of belief that you're going to be okay in the world versus belief that you're not going to be okay in the world. And that's a very basic survival gut reaction, instinctual thing. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's low on the totem pole for the hierarchy of needs. Energetically, in the chakra system, you're at the base root chakra of fear. So as you can get yourself a little more conscious, then you'll feel more comfortable with people, I think. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I agree. And then we attract what we give our emotions to, whatever we're giving our focus and a lot of a feeling to, that's what we're going to attract. So if you keep expecting to be taken advantage of or hurt or whatever, you're going to keep getting it. You know, it's just, I look at people as basically good until they prove to me that they're not, you know.
Yeah, and that's what our country was founded upon, after all. It's supposed to be, you know, it's not guilty until proven innocent. It's innocent until proven guilty. So we forget that sometimes, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just me. That's, you know, I like that. I like It's just the way my mindset is. And to me, that has helped me in my business also, because I haven't been fearful to try new things. And I think you have to be willing to try new things, because all of business is an experiment anyway.
Yeah.
Which leads to, when is it time to let go of things, business or personal? And I've been thinking about that a lot, because we're at the fourth quarter of the year for all intents and purposes. And I can't remember if we talked about this on a Peep show. I don't think we did. I think I did a little video to put up on YouTube just by myself. But I was thinking about what gives you joy, and what is it that you feel like is joyful in your life and in your business that you want to do more of in the coming year, and what is it that has not felt joyful and maybe has not been in the best service of your clients and of you, that you really want to let go of. And sometimes you have to let go of things even if they've worked pretty well, because it's not generating enough satisfaction and joy for yourself, or it's not really servicing your clients in the best way. Also, you have to let go of some things to have room for new things to pop up. And I think that as businesses grow, as entrepreneurs mature, and as their businesses mature, that we reach a point where we do start wanting to change things, and we either make a big core change or we start changing things around the edges. People seem to be fearful of that, but there's no business I know of that an entrepreneur has that is the same even 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago, as it is right now. And Marnie, that's happened to both of us. I mean, my interests have somewhat changed, and you have had some things have happened to you, like the Google thing, where you really didn't have a choice. And then other things have been your choice. You've wanted to go one way versus another. People seem to be scared of that, but you have to really think about, when is it time to let go of things? Bill and I are facing that now, because we are thinking about changing around and becoming even more mobile in the way we live. And that's going to mean letting go of some things that we've had all of our married lives, or maybe things that belong to one of our parents. But it's just stuff, and are we willing to let go of the stuff in order to have the mobility and the freedom that we say we want? So it comes up in our lives all the time. Someone dies. I had to let go of my mom when she died back a few months ago. Letting go is a part of life. And we seem sometimes to get into this thing where we're just clinging so tightly. And, Buddha said attachment is the root of all suffering. And that's very true.
I like that. It's interesting that you're the one who put this agenda together for today, and you don't even know what's going on in my life right now, but the whole motif, or the whole theme of it all, is letting go. Because I don't know, I won't go into all of it, but there's something that's like been a big dream in my past that I really wanted to do. And I think I need to let it go, and because I want to do something different, and I want to make room for a shared vision with my husband that I have now. So it's been kind of hard, but I think the pivotal point for me has been, because my problem is I don't know which way to go. Okay, there's two options, and one of them is going to require letting go of something significant, and I kept wanting to hang on to that, kept hanging on to the past and the past dreams, and I finally, in the past couple days, got to this point where I don't care. I don't care whichever one happens. It doesn't really matter to me at all.
Yeah.
I'm just trusting that wherever I'm going is going to be really good. And it's very liberating. What was that Buddha quote you gave again? Because that nailed it.
Yeah, there's three, in Buddhism, there's three noble truths. And one noble truth is attachment is the root of all suffering. The first noble truth is life is suffering. And the second noble truth is attachment is the root of all suffering. And it really is true. I mean, that's happened to me so many times in my life. I suffered tremendously. I mean, I can barely even talk about it without crying. I suffered tremendously when my leg got injured. And I had this stranger in an emergency room who I had never seen before, met before in my life, staring down at me and saying, Mrs. Painter, you know, we'll do what we can, but we don't really ever think you're going to walk again. If you don't think I was attached to wanting to walk, you're wrong. And I suffered. I suffered mightily because I would not let go of surely they must be wrong. I had to go into it and spend 6 months in a wheelchair with my leg up in the air, not allowed to touch the ground, and accept that I wasn't walking before I could get to the point of beginning to visualize and manifest how I could make this work and how I could be stronger. So, you know, you suffer when you are attached to outcome, the outcome of illness or the outcome of death or the outcome of a relationship or the outcome of a business. You suffer when you're attached. So you have to do the very best job you can. You have to do it open-heartedly and with a whole lot of love, and then you have to let go.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of a dichotomy because
it is.
We're supposed to create and figure out what we want and set a goal. And so you think, oh, I've got to be attached to do that. But then you have to back off and say, okay, but if not, okay, no big deal. And
I remember when I was working on my my thesis for my master's degree, and I had to do some research and all that. And so I did this thesis and I just worked like a dog on it, you know, for months and months and got it all practiced. And then the day came that I had to go and defend my thesis. And, you know, if you don't defend it well, then you don't get your master's degree, right? So I remember walking in and thinking to myself, I have worked hard on this and it is the absolute best, most highest order of things that I can do. And I'm going to say what I have to say, and I'm going to defend what I have to defend, and I have to let go of the outcome, or otherwise I'm going to be so nervous I'm not going to be able to open my mouth. So I just had to let it go. Here I am. This is what I know. This is what I have researched. This is what the results were. Ask me anything you want to ask me, and just cold, hard stare. I'm not attached to the outcome. And that really helped to get through that, because that's stressful. I mean, testing like that has always been real stressful. I remember when I took my boards for, I'm board certified in neuromuscular work. And when you take that board, you walk into a room and there's a person on the table who's draped under a sheet, and you put your hand in a jar and you pull out one of 57 routines that are in neuromuscular therapy. And you look at that thing on the piece of paper, and there's 12 people standing behind you watching you who are board certified, and you have to do to that person on the table what that name of that routine is perfectly. And those 12 people are walking around with clipboards watching your every move, how you drape the person, how you position the person, how deep you work the muscle, how you stretch the muscle, what you say to the person, whether it requires gloves, all that kind of stuff. And I remember I just thought I have to just focus on that person and do the work and let go of the outcome. And I'm proud to say that in the history of the neuromuscular board in all of eternity, I'm the only one who has ever made 100 on the practical exam.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Or at least I was then. Somebody may have surpassed that record by now. That was a long time ago. But you have to let go. And that's hard to do. That's a practice for life. Tough. So we're all philosophical today.
I know. I was just thinking we're all.
This is deep, y'all. Do we have any questions from anybody?
Let me see. You mentioned something about videos as well. I don't see any questions. Making videos. I saw an article today that was pretty good where the person was talking about the one thing that messes up your videos. You can have your lighting perfect, everything all just perfect, but if you're resentful, it comes through in your video.
Well, why would you be resentful if you're doing a video?
I don't know. They were saying any kind of resentment in your own life shows up and filters through what you're saying. It was kind of an interesting article.
I don't know if I believe that. Well, energetically, that might be true. I mean, I guess here's where my mind immediately went when you said that. If you know me very much at all, you know I grew up in the South. I'm an SEC girl, and when football season comes to the SEC, I am an SEC football fan. Of course, I always watch Auburn play, but I watch other SEC teams as well. I love SEC football. It's the only kind of football I care about. Don't care about pro ball. Don't talk to me about the Pac West or whatever the hell they're called. To me, football is SEC football. Well, I'm telling you, you can tell when a coach is going to leave at the end of the year because all during the season, he's got this resentful, kind of half pissed off look on his face. And I caught that look on Nick Saban's little face this past weekend when they lost to Ole Miss, which of course did my little heart good because nobody wants Bama to lose more than an Auburn fan. So he had that, I think I smell an odor kind of look on his face. And I thought, ooh, the beginning of resentment that I've worked hard and it's not, I'm losing this game. The beginning of resentment was there. So I do see resentment sometimes in people's faces. I don't know if we can always catch it, but I think sometimes we can. I agree.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. And I didn't expect that when they were saying like the one thing that would.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, I do, you know how, like if you watch The Voice, you get to see the personalities of the singers who are trying to make it to the top. And some of them, they might be a great singer, but they kind of start copying a little bit of an attitude, and you can tell. And they're never the ones who are going to win. The ones who are more open-hearted about the whole experience tend to be the ones who make it to the top three. I've noticed that over and over again. And I love to watch it just because I'm always in awe of their talent. And I think that their voices are so good now. Many of the famous rock groups that we've had in our lifetimes, a chair wouldn't turn on The Voice for them. Their voices weren't that strong. But now those voices, oh my gosh, there's just some killer voices. So it's kind of fun to watch them develop. And they're young and they're learning from the vocal coaches. And some of them take those notes and take that criticism and they practice and practice. And some of them are like, I do what I do. And if they don't like it, well, okay. So, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see how people react to that.
So what were you going to say about video?
I'm a little bit like, oh my gosh, there's so many choice. Well, the big thing in video now is to do, Marnie, what you and I have been doing for almost a year now, which is live cast. And that's the comment in thing. So now you can do it on Google Hangout like you and I do it. You can do it on Blab. You can do it on Periscope. And you can live stream from your own YouTube channel individually. When I got on my YouTube channel the other day to upload a video, there was a little eyeball there and it said, click here to go live. You can just go live in the moment on YouTube. Which I was just astounded. I'd never seen that little, it was a new thing on my YouTube channel. So there's live casting is unscripted live casting is the hot thing in video. Witness, Periscope, and Blab. And you and I have been doing it. Like, we're on the up and up, girl. We've been doing this for
trendsetters, babe.
doing this for what, close to a year probably. I bet probably close to a year anyway. Yeah. So anyway, people want to see the real, and people want to see what's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot, people resist doing video because they feel like, oh, they've got to have, hair and makeup and all that kind of stuff. And I do admit I put on lipstick before I get in front of the camera for the Peep show, but it's not like I put on fancy clothes or get hair and makeup done or all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, just go to it because people like to see what you're up to, I think.
Yeah.
You have so many choices. I'm a little bit disheartened because I've been doing Periscopes and now all of a sudden people are racing over to Blab. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I barely know how to do Periscopes. I don't know. But in Periscopes, you have to talk. It's only one camera, where Blab, you can connect up to 4 people to talk. So you and I could do this as a Blab. And we should do that, because what I'm starting to sense is Google Hangouts on Air are getting like down because technically they're harder, and Blab and Periscope are so easy to do. So I'm wondering if Google Hangouts on Air is going to take a little bit of a dip, a little bit of a dive. I've been thinking about the Webinar Jam people and wondering what they're thinking about Periscope and Blab.
So if we did a Blab instead, let's say, then can we do it from the computer, or does it have to be done from the phone?
Well, that's the thing. It has to be done from these little phones. And I'm not even sure it'll work on like a mini iPad. It might only can be on your phone. And I don't like to do it because it's hard to manipulate. It's hard to write anything. And it's hard to like see what people are trying. You got to bring the phone way up here. So that's why I don't like it. I prefer this format because you and I can see each other clearly and all that. But I think Periscopes you can only do from your phone, and I don't even know that you can do them from an iPad. I don't know. I'm going to have to test that out, but I don't think you can. And more and more stuff is moving to the phone, and it's silly because it's just going to phones are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, so people can see what the hell it is they're doing. And so then why not just go ahead and put it on a mini iPad? It's the same thing. So I don't know. I guess I'm old-fashioned enough that I like the bigger screen, and I like to be able to type instead of having to, do my thumbs here, and then I make mistakes, and I don't know. So yeah. I guess I'm old-fashioned that way. I'm old enough to be old-fashioned that way.
Yeah, I do like the keyboard better.
Yeah, I like the keyboard. You can work more effectively on the keyboard. I now have a Bluetooth keyboard that connects to my phone, and I can type on Facebook or whatever on my Bluetooth keyboard, and it shows up on my phone. It's one. You like it? I do, but of course in the car or when I'm out, it's not useful. But at my desk, it's useful.
I finally bought one of those little selfie sticks. That thing's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. I have one. Do you have the Bluetooth one that you can turn on automatically? It's Bluetooth.
I don't think it's Bluetooth because but it is an iPhone one, and it has a button on the end of the.
Oh yeah. It's okay. Then it is. I bet it's Bluetooth. Yeah, I know. I have one. I haven't messed with it much. I actually have it right here because I sit in the studio, and it has the little controls on the bottom to stop and start and all that. So I need to practice with it more. The first Periscope I did using this, I'll admit, I was looking and trying to see. That's why I say I don't like Periscope on the phone. You've got it way out here on a selfie stick, right? And then somebody starts sending you hearts, and you want to know who's sending you hearts and who's saying hi. So you're going like this, trying to read it, and then you're pushing it out like that, and you're going like this, and you're going like that. Of course, it's not showing on the screen like it is now. But I went like this, and I hit myself in the face and knocked my glasses off. Right in the middle of a Periscope. I was like, oh, well, that was cool.
Well, wouldn't it show you zooming in on yourself when you?
It does, but I mean, it's hard to read hi, Marnie from Ringgold, which by the way, your Facebook doesn't say Ringgold anymore. It says something else.
Really?
Yeah. Some other little town nearby there. I forget what it says. I'll have to look on Facebook and see. It shocked me. I was like, well, why does it say that Marnie has she moved away?
It says lives in Ringgold, Georgia on it for my
right. Oh, Flintstone. But when you post something, it says Flintstone, Georgia.
Oh, all the time?
Uh-huh.
How weird.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Now, I posted the wedding pictures from Flintstone, Georgia. I wonder if it somehow manually
picked it up, because every time, like this morning when I saw you had pushed the Peep show out, which I forgot to do, I said, it says Flintstone, Georgia. Has Marnie moved? I can't believe it. She didn't tell me. And I knew you hadn't, but that's what it says now.
Huh. Yeah, it must be stuck from the wedding is the only thing I can think.
Yeah, maybe so. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? I don't even know if anybody's on here listening today. We hope you are. We need to do something to get this a wider viewership. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering if a blab would. I've noticed y'all get a lot of people on the Periscope when you do it.
Yeah. And people, it's funny. I get notices every day. So-and-so is following you on Blab. So-and-so is following you on Blab. And I think it's funny because I've never done a Blab.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I've only done Periscopes. I've got the Blab thingy on my phone, but I've never tried it yet. So okay. I guess you have to, I don't know if you have to follow people in order for it to, like if you wanted to connect with me, I don't know. Let's see if it goes, sir. Are you on Blab? Have you downloaded it?
No, I haven't done that one.
Okay. Why don't you do it so that you and I can connect?
Okay. Probably have to do that after the show, but
yeah, you will. All right. So we need to set up the times for the next couple weeks, right?
Oh, do we? Okay. All right.
We'll let everybody know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have 2 more spots if you want to come to my house and work on your products.
And when is that?
October 21st and 22nd, I believe. Wednesday and Thursday.
And people are going to be able to doing an information product?
Yep. They're going to create an information product, a preview presentation of some kind, and a sales page for it.
Cool.
So,
now, and so what is your price point and where do they go to sign up?
Just go to Marnie Pierce. Well, go to MarnieMarcus.com. Go to MarnieMarcus.com. And then on the left-hand side, on the dates, the calendar for October 21st is a link to that class. It's an intensive, 2-day intensive. I'm only going to have 4 people. So I've got 2 people signed up. And what else did you ask me? How much? It is $697 until October 1st, and then the price goes up after that.
Cool. I think it'd be great if anybody needs to work on a product. That'd be great. Marnie's your
So I got it down to a system. Plus, they get 4 months of ongoing support after that. So I mean, it's like a deal. So
that is a good deal. That's a great deal. All right, everybody. It's good to see you. This is Sue and Marnie saying so long till next week. We'll send you the link and the time and date for next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.